Hi everyone, my name's Evangeline and I'm the owner of Makeup Tips. So now that you've learned a little bit more about the techniques and tips that I recommend, you're probably wondering about what products I actually recommend for setting your makeup. So when it comes to setting powders, I'm not gonna lie, I do prefer a high-end product. This is more so just because I find that high-end products in terms of setting powders do have a bit better sort of quality to them. They usually tend to be a lot more finely milded and they usually don't have as much of a higher concentration of talc as their drugstore counterparts do. So first up, we've got the Too Faced Primed and Poreless Setting Powder. Now this one is one of my all-time favorite setting powders. It's been in my collection for quite some time and I find that it really is one of the best. It's very, very, very fine, so it's not going to look really, really cakey on the skin, and it means that you can use the smallest amount of product to get the perfect matte finish. Really great powder, and it's also really amazing at helping to diminish the appearance of fine lines as well as pores, as the name would suggest. Now this is a part of the Too Faced Primed and Poreless range. There is also a loose setting powder, I believe, and obviously also the primer and all of that. Next up, we've got the Smashbox Halo Hydrating Perfecting Powder. Now this is one of my all-time favorite powders. It is expensive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. It's a pressed powder, but you sort of grind it with this little contraption here to give you a fresh layer of powder every time, and it turns into a loose powder. It's a really great powder, and it's honestly my favorite powder for drier skin types like mine. It doesn't make the skin look dry, but it doesn't necessarily have a high amount of shimmer in it either. So it's a really great little powder. As I said, expensive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. And I do prefer this powder over ones like the Makeup Forever HD powder, which I find can sometimes leave a white cast on the skin and generally don't tend to be as good for darker skin tones. Next, we've got the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores Airbrush Silk Pressed Powder. Now this one is another one of my favorites. It's not lying when it says it gives you an airbrush finish. This powder is so smooth, so beautiful, applies like a dream onto the skin. It's actually like light as a feather. It's a really nice powder and is really great at giving that really flawless airbrush style effect, especially when you use it with the IT Cosmetics brushes. So it's a really nice powder, really great. This is the pressed powder that I love, but there is also a loose powder variation, and like Too Faced, the Bye Bye Pores line spreads across the entire IT Cosmetics line. Now I know I said that I'm not necessarily a big fan of drugstore setting powders, but there are a few exceptions to the rule, and in which case I love the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. Now this one is a very popular, very famous product. A lot of people love it. It is a staple in a lot of people's collections. It's not necessarily holy grail status for me, but it is a good powder and it does get the job done. I know that a lot of people swear by it. It is a good powder, I will give it that. Now, Rimmel is probably the only brand that I would recommend out of the top tier drugstore brands for setting powder. I haven't necessarily found any that I like from Revlon, L'Oreal, and Maybelline. I just find that they always have a little bit too much shimmer or a little bit too chalky, but the Rimmel one is good. But in terms of proper drugstore, and I'm talking proper affordability here, we are going to be talking about Essence. So Essence, in my opinion, are one of the best brands for setting powder on a drugstore level. I think they do really great powders, they do a good job at mattifying the skin, and they don't look overly cakey either. The only issue with Essence is that they do tend to have a lot of deletions and relaunches into their line. So you might see a product there and then it will be gone in 3 months, then it will be back in 6. So that can be a little bit annoying. But other than that, I really like the Essence powders. So my personal favorite is the Essence Mattifying Compact Powder. This has been a staple in my collection. It's always in my makeup bag. Really great powder, really mattifies the skin and is just a really great little powder. The other one that I also like is the Essence All About Matte Fixing Compact Powder. Now this is obviously a white style powder. Generally I'm not a huge fan of them, but this one is a great one. It does mattify the skin, does set the makeup, which is really great. The only thing is, if you do have a darker skin tone, you may find that this does look a little bit ashy on your skin, so you might want to be wary of that. I also believe that they do have a loose powder variation of this particular one if you are more of a loose powder person. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and leave a comment below telling me whether you prefer pressed powders or loose powders. Personally, I'm more of a loose powder girl. I just feel like they tend to look a lot more natural on the skin. I'll also make sure to leave some links in the description box below where you can purchase all of these products, and also where you can follow me on all my social media channels and networks such as Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Tumblr, Snapchat, and all of that.